what was happening was the new Taurus that was being built in China was also being built across the street at an automotive manufacturing of the Chinese, which they have over 150 different car manufacturers, and they're badging this stuff differently and selling them in the Middle East and stuff in Africa. And so then what
They just took your factory. They just took your IP. They took your manufacturing knowledge and repurposed it across the street. And all Ford did was build a factory there to show them how to build a factory.
Right. That's it. And it was all due to Obama.
Hey,
Welcome to the Old Guys No Shit podcast in Dealercast Studios, where we bring together decades of automotive knowledge all together in one place. Here's your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit.
Hey, what is going on, Dealercast Nation? I am Jason Harris.
And I'm Rob Mudd.
And I'm Larry Bruce.
And this is the podcast of old guys that know shit.
Yep.
The Old Guys That Know Shit podcast. That's what it is.
That's what it is. No shit, old guys that know shit.
Yeah. And
we are those old guys.
Yeah,
so
we are those old guys.
We are the old guys.
And did anybody watch that old guy last night? He didn't talk no shit, did he?
No, he did not. No shit. Hey, guys, it's great to be back in the studio. Love seeing both of you guys. This has been a lot of fun. Hey, and just real quick, for everybody out there that's watching the show, we appreciate you. Like, the engagement's been great.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the comments that have been, like, that people have been commenting as we've been posting on LinkedIn and Facebook and everywhere. And it's just like, this is cool, man.
Yeah,
this
fun.
is a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also think, if you guys don't know, there's an amazing website out there.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Dealercast.com.
Right?
Right.
So you can go there and find out all kinds of cool stuff.
Find out about us, and you can
Yep.
find out about the. You can ask questions. We'll be adding to it as we go, so it'll grow like anything else. We assume.
We hope.
Yeah.
This is a very fun series. We already had somebody recently, NADA, asked us if they can get one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted some merch.
We said, we don't know. Are you an old guy that knows shit?
Well, you know what? Yeah. You got to answer these three questions.
It's top secret.
It's top secret. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, today's topic's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this. I know we've been chatting a little bit about this before we started recording, so this is very cool. Trump's economics policies. All right. What do they mean for the auto dealers? I know there's I'm opening up, here's a can of worms. Right. Can you open it today? Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to open up a can of worms. We're going to get into it. So I will just kick this off. Just when you guys hear that, where do you go specifically in your head and why? And Rob, I'll start with you, and then you, Larry.
I love it. I mean, because the man speaks truth. And as you know, if anybody's ever traveled outside the United States for the purpose of the car industry, you will quickly find that the rest of the world loves to sell their shit in our country, but they don't let us sell our shit in their country. And so I've been to China, I've been to Russia, I've been to Europe, I've been to India, all over the globe, right? And what people don't understand about this tariff stuff is that if we want to sell cars in China, or if we want to sell cars anywhere else, they put a tariff and what's the tax on our stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what they do. We don't do that to them when they come here. And some people, oh, that's great. No, it's not great. No. It's not great because it ruins our manufacturing, right? Because the demand is there.
Yes.
Our IP is being stolen around the globe. They're making other cars that look like our cars, putting their name on it and selling them all around the world. We are getting, as President Trump would say, screwed by everyone.
Yeah.
The United States used to own the car space, the passenger
industry.
car.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole damn thing. We don't make passenger cars. You know who makes them all? South Korea.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guess how many cars we sell in South Korea? Close your eyes and tell me what you see.
I'm gonna say zero.
Zippo. So
Zero.
Right.
it baffles me the lack of economic education that our country has, and then the bullshit economic
crap that they're being fed.
Yes. Right. One is, there is no micro economic. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, right? It starts with macro and micro.
Yeah. You listen to these knuckleheads on TV, and some of them I'm amazed that we allow them to talk on TV. It is definitely proof that we have free speech. Even the stupidest person alive can get on TV and talk about this
and write about it on the internet.
So do not question our free speech anywhere. No, not even. But,
I was in Washington, D.C. back in 2014, and we was with a group from YPO, and we had been invited. People that are doing business in China, and we were invited to a sit-down at the Chinese embassy in D.C. No other business group had ever been there for this purpose, to sit down and talk and converse and so forth. So we go there. There's probably about 25 of us. We sit on our side, the Chinese sit on their side. And, it's all niceties and such. And then they open it up for questions. And, I mean, I wasn't being an asshole, but people that heard my question probably thought I was. So I said, hey, why are you all pushing electric vehicles for the United States when we don't have a natural resource problem? Why are you doing that? Now, it makes sense, I think, for you all in China. But when I was there, I said to them, you're pushing electric vehicles, but you burn black coal to make electricity, right? And they get that black coal from Russia and others to make electricity. I said, when I realized that in Shanghai, I asked my partner, how do they make their electricity? Because they have no natural resources, right?
Hey.
They burn black coal. Then you knew it was never, ever about the environment. It was about taking someone down the wrong path. And so back in 2014, when Obama was in the Oval Office, and the Chinese are pushing the Green New Deal or their green energy or whatever, their electrification. Yeah. It takes 10 years to create a platform, an automotive platform, right, to switch someone out.
Yep.
Well, isn't it a quinky dinky that 10 years is now, right? And so in China, General Motors was big over there. Roger Smith goes over to China in the 80s and sees this big market, big eyeballs. Hey, we're going to make it
Buick, I still think is one of the biggest brands.
It is. Yep. It was. It's not, but it was for a very long time. So we're over there to gobble up that market, but we're not gobbling up that market at all.
No, you're over there to be taught.
Yes, they were.
You were the teacher.
We were the teachers.
100%.
And so when you show up there and you do a deal and you want to manufacture in China, you become a partner with the CCP. They're 51 and you're 49. That's how that works.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so they don't believe they're stealing anything. They're majority stockholders.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? And we sign up for that every single day when we're in that country. And we allow it, which is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we agree to it. I mean, I don't know that we allow it. I mean,
we allow it.
Well,
we allow it.
No, we definitely allowed it.
We allow it. Because when the Chinese come here, we negotiate with the CCP. When we go there, you're negotiating yourself against the CCP, right? There's no open markets. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, but we agreed to it. We shouldn't have agreed to it.
We agreed to go over there, and you agreed to do the deal.
We agreed to do the deal.
You agreed to do the deal.
And then, but at the end of the day, I mean, when that happened, what really should have happened, and this was, we're talking Roger Smith. We got to be talking about the early 80s. Yeah, exactly. So you're going back to Reagan.
Yep, right.
Yeah. So Reagan should have done exactly what Trump did. No problem. Tariff that swings both ways. When you come over here,
it has to swing both ways.
So me and you will be 51-49 over here.
Yeah.
For the government. We'll just do this through our sovereign wealth fund, which we should have already had.
Right.
Right. Yep. And no problem at all. It works out. No, I mean when if as long as the door swings both ways, this is not a problem.
But it doesn't. But
it doesn't. Nowhere. It doesn't anywhere. And
it hasn't for decades.
Right. And what you'll hear from all these knuckleheads is that well, no, we believe in free markets. Yeah, we do, but everybody has to.
Right.
Well, let's not necessarily free markets, yes, but look, guys, look at it this way. the U.S. is the largest group of consumers globally.
Right.
All right. It's going to take. It should take a little something to come play in this group. All right. We consume more than any other country out there. All right. And it shouldn't be free just to show up and sell your shit to this group. It does need to cost something.
It's a misnomer.
You gotta get some booth
and the
space.
people that run the scam on bad tariffs are bad are globalists. They're globalists and they don't like America.
Well, they don't want our
understand
dependency. They want us to be dependent on others.
other people, right?
Yes, which is right now as
What we're
consumers
at.
what we're doing.
And so what does that do? That wholesales out your guts your country.
But are we really dependent on somebody else? I mean, the reality is that we just buy here. Okay, we buy American cars, and Trump. 10% on American cars
That's
now.
brilliant.
Hey,
That's
brilliant. Done.
Brilliant.
One of my questions is how will potential tariffs affect, or will we see relief in interest rates, due to some of these changes?
Yeah.
And 100%, that's a
Right.
perfect example.
That's
When we
perfect
see that,
example.
what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to the programs and the rebates all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
Everything's going to switch.
So, and everybody's giving Musk shit, right? Like, oh, Elon Musk with the electric. Here's the deal about Tesla. It's a novelty. It's a percentage car, right? It's a niche vehicle.
He still doesn't believe he's in the car business.
No, he doesn't.
No, he never thought he was going to be. It was always about the battery.
Yes, and the autonomous.
Yeah.
The
That's
autonomy,
where-
right? So there's so much misinformation that's put out there on purpose to misguide and to get people riled up. And the Democrats are masterful at lying, telling bullshit, telling untruths.
It certainly has. It's like at one point, growing up in Georgia, you're a Democrat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point in time when they were liberal. They were for
the working man,
They were for the
supposedly.
working man. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And it was just a little bit to that left hand side, right?
Yeah.
But the people made decisions that were had common sense,
Sure.
right? And it seems like ever since and what's weird is it seems like ever since Trump, common sense just went right out the freaking window. It doesn't matter. Not only are we going to throw common sense away, but whatever that man says, we're going to go so far to the other side. I mean, we're not just going to go a little bit the other way. We're going to go to the. If he says the sky is blue, God damn it, we're going to tell you it's purple.
Yeah, right.
And that's I'm looking at this going, look, man, I'm kind of agnostic. I do lean conservative, but I'll listen to anybody but bring an idea. Quit telling me that this is, have a new idea. Don't give me the problem. I do it in my own company. Don't bring me a problem. Bring me here's how I would do it differently. Give me solutions. I embrace solutions. I don't embrace problems. So, and that all we've gotten fed is problems.
Well, and it's beyond that because the problems that exist don't want to get solved, right? The Democrats feed off problems, chaos.
It seems that way,
It
right?
absolutely is. How can someone be against waste? I mean, for waste. How can
Well,
you be
that depends on if you're on the end of that waste.
Well, I get that part. I understand that, but that happens every day. If you're tied to that money train and it goes away, okay, then that goes away. But why did it go away? Were you adding value and someone?
No, you were stealing
You're
it.
You're gutting us.
Right. Well, I mean, that part of it, is all that gets, and that's the problem, right? We're sitting here talking about, and we're really just looking at economic policies, how that's going to handle with dealers.
Yes.
But all this other nonsense it can't not get in it, right?
Yes.
You can't. It's like what we were talking about yesterday. When I get shit on my hands, I don't want to wash it off. I want to wash it off quickly, right? We seem to just kind of want to leave it there.
These big car companies are playing global politics, right? And they're playing it in a game that they've already lost because they've already been taken.
We've been taken. I mean, guys, go to Detroit. You will know that the automotive industry has been taken. Just drive through this.
Right, because you can
drive through the
fire
city of
cannon
Detroit
down the street and not hit anybody.
Oh no, but I mean, yeah, I mean, look, you're seeing what was once amazing,
right,
booming industry town that was pumping out. Some of the best cars we ever seen. Big blocks and big cars, and and dude, it is. When you go to Detroit now, you see
it's depressing.
It's depressing. You see what happens.
Gutted out.
You see how we just literally gutted the entire industry and just gave it to other countries.
And I blame it solely on the Obama administration. These guys were fools, chumps, and they didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they're playing a game that they have no conceptual understanding, no contextual understanding of making anything.
Right.
Nothing.
Well, you also got to think now we also have a population that fundamentally doesn't know how to make anything.
No.
Well,
and that gets back to our last conversation about AI, right? So it's a very delicate balancing act.
It is.
Right? But the balancing act, from our perspective, all scales are for the other guys.
Yeah.
100%. And it's our politicians. 100% our politicians that are so narrow-minded, right? And don't even belong to be there, literally. They do not belong. I say half. Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know any of them. I know some of them, but it's.
Well, you may.
Look,
if in fact that Elon does do what we all hope he will do, which I would never bet against that guy ever. So
well,
I'm going to have to.
What we think he's going to do.
Yeah, I got to believe he's going to finish that mission. So if he gets that mission finished, whatever it ends up being, what's not going to happen, I believe, wholeheartedly with every fiber of my being, you will not see another politician go in being worth $1 million and coming back out worth $150 million. That ain't gonna happen. And when that stops happening, right?
And we fundamentally saw that happen.
Then you've got different decisions and different things that are being made in Congress.
Well, and we watched that happen over the last 30 years. If you actually go back 30
years, it doesn't happen.
It not nearly to scale that it is today.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. People are going into politics, coming out, going into the private sectors, and being advocates for all these companies and making hundreds of millions.
Oh, I'm just talking about they don't do anything when they come out. They magically made all this money while they were getting paid $200,000 a year.
If you follow Obama's cabinet, when they got done, they all went into the tech business at the C level on all of them, right? Because Obama's a bad guy. Because of his policies and what he understood about data and what he did to the car industry. So he comes in 2008, right? What's happening? The car industry's imploding.
Yes.
Right? Why? Because of the shit that they pulled to get there, right? In the housing industry, and then just all the economics that go around selling things to people that can't afford to buy things.
Exactly.
Right.
And then it imploded. And so who do they got the bailout? Well, you look at Chrysler, of course, and then Ford didn't take a bailout, right? But Ford, I think Mark Fields and Lally saved them, man.
Yeah.
He didn't take their money.
Yeah.
That's right.
He
He's
saved them. He's the only one that saved.
The only one, yeah.
That did the deal. But then when Mark Fields took over, he screwed them in China.
Yep.
He absolutely screwed them in China because he was an arrogant son of a bitch, Fields was. I thought, Jim, you'd agree with me. Jim Ziegler, you'd agree with me. He did nothing to help the Ford Motor Company. Zero. Zippo. And they're a shell of what they used to be.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. They're very. It's been very difficult for them to come back, and they're back somewhat, but it's not.
Well, they're not back because what's the
lightning?
What's the value prop for them to come back? You know what I mean?
They're really having a hard time.
I look at it like the Maple Leafs. If you guys like hockey, okay, this is the Maple Leafs. Like I will continue to make you think that I'm going to win a championship, but I won't ever.
Right.
But so I can still therefore charge $900 a ticket for the 300 level nose seats, because you had to take a mortgage to go to one of those games, right?
So I was in Guangzhou, China, and we were over there looking at factories. And we were taken to a brand new Ford factory, and they were making Fiestas and Ford Tauruses.
Yeah.
Right when Ford was trying to bring back the Taurus here in the United States. Right. Well, that then quickly ended. What was happening was the new Taurus that was being built in China was also being built across the street at an automotive manufacturing of the Chinese, which they have over 150 different car manufacturers, and they're badging this stuff differently and selling them in the Middle East and South and Africa. And so then what
They just took your factory. They just took your IP. They took your manufacturing knowledge and repurposed it across the street. And all Ford did was build a factory there to show them how to build a factory.
Right. That's it. And it was all due to Obama.
Hey,
It was. I mean, it just was. If you look at what he did with the MPG regulations and trying to move it from 35 to 55 miles
Ridiculous.
per gallon, that was the beginning of the green scam. And it's been going on. And that man single-handedly put the dagger in the heart, in the back of the car business.
So let's go into that a little bit. So what strategies should dealers adopt to prepare for potential economic shifts? I mean,
go get a domestic franchise today.
Well, I'm actually with you on that. You know, guys, I got to be honest with you. When I bought my dealership, you know, I was originally looking at a Hyundai dealership because I couldn't afford a Ford dealership. Like, it just me getting it. Like, and again, Ford wasn't going to give me one anyways, even if I did have the money, right? So I was originally looking at a Hyundai dealership, almost executed on that, and then someone said, you got to talk to the guys at Mitsubishi, and it was a wildly different conversation. It was more like, here's what we can do for you, rather than what can you do, you know, for me. But you're absolutely right, guys. I'm looking at this right now. If I'm sitting around with a few Mitsubishi dealerships,
if you're in a buy-sell, I hope you closed it,
dude. Yeah, like
on a Ford or Chevrolet or a Dodge or a CJDR store. If you were in a buy-sell, I hope you closed it before yesterday, because yesterday when that announcement, that whoever owns that store, he's either going to tell you it's worth more money now, or he's just going to back out completely.
Yes. I think this will fundamentally save Stellantis, even though in my heart, I kind of wanted them to fail. I got to be honest with you.
You know, they're going to, here's a prediction. Elon Musk buying Stellantis. It's owned by a holding company over in Europe, right? And they haven't made a good move since it became theirs. They have not made
since Carlos Ghosn stole all their money.
I mean, Nissan almost did, and until like the last 12th hour when they finally showed the real books, they went, "Oh God, you're really that far deep in."
Right. But you know, if you're the Mercedes plant that they're going to build, I think they're going to. Is that in Tennessee or Indiana? That they're
somewhere in that area.
Yeah,
that qualifies for American-built car.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, so every one of all these guys are going to bring their factories over here.
Exactly. See, I think that's what people need to get. And as a dealer, I get excited about this.
Yeah,
there's going to be some huge opportunity. Like, we're just taking back.
What was
we
ours?
are the largest consumers in the world. We're just taking back our consumer buying power.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Back to us, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this.
There's nothing wrong with it. You know, as long as you don't get a fly in the ointment, right?
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that, you know, there's right now, the way the other party works is they must not allow this to be good. So they've got to find a way to make it bad. They're literally this is if you're talking about stocks, they're the ones out there shorting your stock right now.
Because they don't understand the car business.
No, they
the
don't
car
understand.
Business
They don't
is a financial tool for America.
Yeah.
Right? It's a financial tool.
100%.
And for us to get out of this problem that we're in, the OEMs are going to have to belly up and start leasing cars and buying back their mistakes. Right?
Yes.
And buying back the inequity and eating it, right? Because they're the only ones that can do it. And they're going to have to do it in order to get new cars. Why? They got to feed the used car market, right? It's a 3 to 4 to 1 new to used, but we're run out of used cars, right?
Yeah, leasing has to come back in a big way, which I think it will come back. I mean, it's funny. I just leased a Kia Telluride. You know, the dealership I leased it from had no clue what to do. It literally looked like 2 hours for them to figure it out, because this was like the 4th lease that they had done that month. And I'm just like, excuse me? Like, what
Ford
do you
stores used to have a 40%
lease penetration.
Toyota had a 60%. You know, I agree with the domestics have to come back. We have to come back in a leasing format so we can continue to build this funnel again. You know, like I mean, look, we practically put a hole in our head when we introduced long-term financing.
Yes.
72 months, 84 months, 96. I mean, that's insane. Like we're not putting people in and out of the market quick enough.
No.
And how do you do that? And so I did a seminar in 14 on faster turn rate, right?
Yeah.
And it was taking CPO cars and turning them to leased cars, right? Releasing the leased car
Yeah, usually.
that you just had.
100%.
And it makes so much sense because you've been working on that car, Mr. Dealer, for the past 3 years. Your tax has been fixing it. What a better car to own and release it yourself.
Exactly.
Well, but if I'm the manufacturer, if I'm the dealer, you know, I'm looking at this deal and I'm thinking to myself, look, I got a problem with used car acquisition.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
But
so
none of these guys pay structures are giving them the opportunity to think that far forward.
Yeah,
because they never thought about lifetime value of a
Yeah.
customer.
So
the dealer never did.
Yeah.
Ever.
So if I'm looking at this deal, I'm going to go, look, hey man, I'll put you on a 2-year lease, but but the lease is mine. I'm the residual.
Well,
now you have to bring it
I
back
did do
to
that.
me.
That was awesome.
When they
Yeah.
should.
I did do that.
If you got the nuts to do it.
If you got the nuts
cash
to
do it.
yeah, I mean,
I did an in-house leasing company.
Let's
It was
be real. I mean, look at what Herb Chambers just went for. These guys, these groups,
money.
they got the money.
Yeah.
They got the nuts
Yep.
to do it.
They do. Absolutely.
And if I'm David Holt, or I'm the guys at Auto Nation, I'm looking at them going, why wouldn't I just? I mean, you've already got your own captive,
Right.
No, Auto Nation's already got its own captive. Asbury's getting its.
Especially when you start tacking in like rebates for domestic vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, these 2-year leases are going to be a few $100.
Right.
Like they're going to be beautiful. Like,
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
And then you solve your acquisition problem.
The only problem that
Like your
they have
used
to
car
solve,
acquisition
though,
problem.
here's the problem they also have to solve. They have to solve the acquisition of a kid's license. That problem, right? Because they
That's a whole other one.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
a whole nother one.
That's
a
another
big one.
podcast
That's
topic
really
right there.
at the very
Should put
beginning,
that in
because
our
if you
book.
don't have an audience to drive vehicles, you don't have an audience to sell something to.
I mean,
And so-
it's true, guys. I mean, I'm watching my daughter's 14. All right, but we live in Nashville, Tennessee, so it is. She's excited. You know, I took her out in a parking lot the other day. She's driving the truck around, and we're just getting ready, you know, for this though. But like, you know, we have family that live in Toronto, Canada, big metro. You know, her cousins who are exactly the same age, all right, have no interest, and may never have any interest in wanting to drive or own a vehicle.
Yeah.
because of these.
Well, Larry doesn't even own one, and he's on the damn podcast.
He does, but he has owned one, right?
Okay, all right.
He qualifies because he used to own
We're
one.
teaching kids that this communicator, I can see you, it services as a vehicle because it's transporting my eyes, right?
Well, it's not just that. I mean, at the end of the day,
It's instantaneous communication.
So the last company Reynolds bought, Brockman asked me to take a look at this whole Uber Lyft ride thing.
Sure.
Right? And I went and pulled all the numbers, what the average ride was, you know, how long it took to get to an average ride, how long the average ride was, how much it cost, then compared it to how much it cost to buy the vehicle, pay for the vehicle, pay for gas, get insurance, the maintenance. It actually came out to be $200 a month less to take Uber.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
scary.
Yeah. I'm sure it is.
I mean, at the end of the day-
Especially with the price of payments right now. I mean, come on, they're ridiculous.
Right.
So this was back in in 2015.
Okay, so now look at it, it probably is even worse.
So probably not 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. I mean,
Okay.
it was mid 20 teens, right? But the fact of the matter is that if you start looking at it, I can tell you from my own experience, and I didn't think I would be able to live without a car. I'm a car guy, you know what I mean? And like I told you yesterday, I don't just buy a car.
Right.
I got to buy the car, right? So there is that problem with the way I think. But the fact of the matter is that when I can just push a button and my ride shows up.
It's called a limousine, right? It's called a chauffeur.
Yeah, but I'm doing work.
If you're a new Tesla owner,
Right.
they do that now for you.
I don't rest.
Press a button, it shows up.
I don't rent cars when I travel anymore. I Uber wherever I'm going to go, and even if I'm 3 or 4 days. because I can work, talk, be on my phone.
Unless you're in Waterloo, Iowa, and
Then you can't.
And then
Well,
there's an Uber.
you might have an Uber problem. I don't believe there's a problem. There might be an Uber problem, but the fact of the matter, the reality is that, I think I said this to you yesterday. I believe what'll end up happening before you ever get to the point where an electric car becomes a deal, a car won't be a deal anymore.
Well, cars need to be deals, and that's what I see Trump is going after. It's
well, American manufacturing has to be American-made cars have to be a deal, right?
Yes, American-made cars
need to be a deal because
they haven't been for years.
They haven't been for too many years, right? Now, a big part of that is American manufacturing problem.
Well, so the UAW just did a number on all the manufacturers, right? Because this bullshit of this green new electric car deal just fucked them all, right? Because they did a contract based on getting aced out by electric vehicles, right?
Yep.
And so then they said, all right, I need to take care of everybody for the next 5 years. Well, guess what? There are not going to be that many electric cars. There'll be 10% of the market possibly. Right. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to raise prices on their cars because they gave it away to the labor based off what the labor said was going to happen, which it would have happened, but it was never going to happen anyway. Right?
100%.
Follow me?
Yeah.
And so they've got a bigger problem. It's stupidity. Trump is right. It's stupidity and people not understanding the business they're in or negotiating a deal, not understanding how the tentacles, the 360 of the whole operation. You said it, Larry, mile wide, half-inch deep.
Yeah.
And that'll get you in trouble every single time.
Right. Because, when you hire, you think Mary Bear ever worked in a plant?
No. Mary Bear is an act. Oh.
Let's see how fast we can get this episode not on there.
Might need to edit that, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. That's anyway, so that's my belief is the uneducated decision makers who don't understand global economics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple, right? And the pressures on the economics by global players like China.
Yes.
Like Japan. I mean, we almost sold U.S. steel to the Japanese.
I know.
We were this close.
Right. How insane is that?
And amazingly enough, you had to know it was such an absolute asinine, imbecile deal because Biden stopped it.
Yeah.
Right. It had to be so bad.
Somehow he woke up from a nap, and this was the first thing he saw. And somebody
in the 30-second period of clarity.
You guys are idiots.
And then there's talk. So I was in D.C. at a conference when this was going on, and they were talking about the deal. I said, that's insane that anyone would even support that, because if we don't have steel, what can't we make? A lot of stuff. Like tanks, right? Yeah. Armaments.
There's stuff we need. We need. Those little bombs. You can't just wrap up that. You can't wrap up in cellophane the gunpowder when you go to drop the bomb. It doesn't work.
No.
You got to have some steel around it.
So they've gutted America.
We have. Over the last 30 years, we've done exactly that. We've literally gutted America. We've gutted multiple industries. We've gutted the automotive industry.
And you're right on every account. So how do you look at one of these? And I love these. Like there's one of my favorite guys. I've bantered back and forth with on Twitter is a guy named Jeff Jarvis. He's written a couple of books. He's an academic. Mm-hmm. How does that guy resolve in his head?
He doesn't. He does not. Because he lives in make-believe.
Professor, you are shaping the minds of young people.
Before you could call bullshit on the professor, he had all the answers because he was a PhD. Well, now we can know as much as the PhD just by this little tool here. In AI, it'll make us as smart as the PhD when you ask the right questions. Smarter than the PhD. Because he's not looking at he's thinking, how can I teach this philosophy, this theory?
Hey, Elon, can we have Grok? Grok. Hey, look, I get Gronkowski, man. Okay, can we have Grok Can we just ask Grok the question? and just kind of skip the whole professor thing altogether? Because that would work for me.
Funny enough, if you guys, there actually were a handful of people that actually went to OpenAI and a few of the other solutions and asked, like, hey, is this make sense for our economics? And it's hilarious how every single AI has come back and said, absolutely, here's how it's going to benefit the country, yet we still have news broadcasters.
So that gets back to what I was talking about on the last podcast. The guy that programs how the tool works, right, is the guy that's going to be really giving you the answers that the thing's going to spit out, right?
Well, it's got it's trained by the collective mind of where all they got.
Yeah,
but the reality
but then you plug it in too.
But
And so depending on what you plug in,
but it's like a kid, right? I mean, I made this analogy.
But it's a kid with multiple PhDs.
Yeah.
That's one
or a
of the
kid with schizophrenia.
Well, but I made this analogy. On LinkedIn not too long ago. Is like AI is like a child. It is trained. It's going to act the way its parents brought it up,
Yes.
and it's going to lean the way its parents want it to be, because it's going to be affected by what its parents, the trainers, and the people that built it, and what they decide to train it on. You know, you can see it all day long. OpenAI is much better at creative than Sonnet. Sonnet 3.7 is an amazing coder. Gronk it spits back information faster than anything I've seen. It's freaking amazing how fast it goes, and it gives you back really good information. Searches the web pretty well. It doesn't give you the links, Elon, which is kind of I looked at that kind of weird.
Doesn't provide the sources. ChatGPT will.
ChatGPT will give you the links. You know, Perplexity searches the web better than anything.
100%. I use it all the time.
I've almost stopped using Google for search.
All my family vacations are mapped with Perplexity.
Yeah.
So what does AI need to live? It needs energy. It eats energy, and when quantum comes around, it's going to need more energy.
Where do you think that's going to come from?
See, here's the problem. Now
Black hole from Russia?
No,
I know. It's going to come from fossil fuels.
Well, yeah, but guess what? Guess where it's all. I may be wrong on this one. This is a bold prediction, but Greenland's got a lot of open space. And it's real cold.
It is true.
That's a great place for a server farm.
Yeah,
right?
you want to know?
There you go.
If you got some you got some hot computers you want to cool off, just open up a window.
Yep. Because that is the future. And so when they're trying to send everything to electric in vehicles, and there's not enough electricity to do that, and we haven't created a new energy plant in I don't know how many years, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay in front of this stuff? And this stuff that wasn't just thought of today. They've been thinking of this shit since 25 years ago.
Yeah.
This is all a big plan, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to clue into the plan. It's energy. What did they cut us off as being? An energy-dependent company. Why did they do that? Because Obama wanted to do that. Why did he do it? Because he's communist, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you got to say it. He is. His father was.
Hey, look. You know what? He's out and he's done.
No. I wish that was the case. None of these guys go out.
Yeah,
they just do shit differently.
I hope he is the guy informing the Democratic Party.
He is. He absolutely is.
I hope so, because that would now let me know just how stupid.
And that's what we're got.
Because I mean, how many times do you have to lose? How many times do the people have to
They don't care. That's not their. Their purpose isn't to win. Their purpose is to destroy.
Yeah, but at some point, you got to be in the government to destroy it.
They got 50. They got what? 530, or I don't know how many representatives they got. Half of, or just a little under half.
They got a little.
So they got a lot.
But come up on the midterms. Now, normally the midterms flip this. This year, if they go any further, now you're talking about a Republican supermajority. And they will roll over your rear end for the next 6 years. You will be done. That's what I think they're most concerned about, because all the shit that Trump is doing might actually work. And if it works,
will work.
We're done.
It did work. It worked the first time.
Right.
They had to come up with the scam, right? To steal the deal in order to get it out. It was when he was showing those numbers last night, he was on fire, man.
100% he was.
And what did they do to stop that? They pandemiced everybody, right? Yep. Threw everybody inside, put masks on. if we don't wake up, we get what we fucking deserve. I'm sorry to be that wrong about it, but
You know, I mean,
You're
at the end of
absolutely
at the end of the day, you look at all this and you go, you know, I think that people look at right. I can tell you how I got buddies of mine that were buying into the whole pandemic thing, hook, line, and sinker. You know, I luckily never got pressured into. I didn't get the pressure to get the vaccine because I had a blood clot, and my doctor literally said, if you're not at risk for COVID, you've had a blood clot, probably not best for you. Best for you just to opt out. Here's a note.
Sure.
And he said, but they took. They you know, I had one good friend of mine who I consider to be a very conservative and also be a very smart person. Just sold his company for a whole lot of money, but did well. But he literally told me, I will not hire a person who has not been vaccinated. And I went, wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, talk about division, dividing the
yeah,
country.
and then you got Trump wanting to hook up with Ellison, and Ellison's out there talking about, well, we can now map out a whole mRNA. No, you're not touching my mRNA, brother.
Not at
Not
all.
on your, not a chance.
Well, look, I know we've definitely gone out left field a little bit.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'll
Bring
reel
it-
us
but you
back
wanna
to
reel
we
it.
should do another show on this topic. I kind of like it a little bit.
This is a lot of fun. But guys, just a final thought from you, really, just like for dealers out there watching and listening right now, what would be a final thought you'd want to share with them to, you know, maybe just be prepared?
Be prepared. Look at putting payments. People buy payments on your vehicles and get into leasing if you can.
100%.
I mean,
Get ready for it.
Get ready for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully the manufacturer will start build cars so you
Yeah.
can lease them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then, you know, you go buy a domestic dealer, go buy a domestic franchise, go start finding one now.
I'm 100%. I'm agreeing with you. Leasing needs to be there. Domestic needs to be
And
there.
if you're one of the if you're one of the consolidators and you have a captive, you better have a leasing program.
100%. And I think for anybody out there watching, listening, you need to be having these conversations with your manufacturer, like right now.
100%.
You know, you need to know what they have planned, what they have mapped out. How are they going to, you know, alter their marketing or their inventory, you know, strategies around what is eventually going to happen? Because I don't think this is a matter of if it will or not. It's just a matter of
When.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just anybody out there watching, listening, just you know, be prepared.
Hey, did you guys know any pharmaceutical reps back in the late 80s, early 90s?
Can't say I do off the top
I
of my
didn't.
head.
Did you know what they? Well, I was going to ask you. Did you know what they drove? Every one of them drove a Ford Taurus, right?
Well, yes,
Right.
that's like, or a Malibu.
Or a Malibu. Oh,
Or Impala, sorry. Impala, my bad.
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody. so,
that little nugget. Out
little
there.
nugget. Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening, we really do appreciate you. One of the biggest compliments you can ever give us is share the show. And this is definitely one of those shows that we would love for you to share because we, you know, this is, I think the conversation needs to be
It's a
had.
real conversation.
It's a real
man.
conversation.
It's a real conversation.
Absolutely. And for everybody out there, you need to be prepared. Like there's just a level of preparation that's going to be required. It's not a matter if it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
And don't believe the government's your friend.
Edit that out, Mike. Edit that out.
That's definitely going to be a Jimmy. Jim would say the same. But no, for everybody out there watching, listening, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share the show. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All have an
Thanks, guys.
amazing day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Old Guys Know Shit podcast with your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.